also see all this other stuff. We can also look at Eucharistic miracles that have occurred over the past 1,000 of years, right? So that is not the case whatsoever. The luminosity that it would have to take in order to imprint Jesus Christ's body on the Shroud of Turin would be akin to a nuclear bomb going off. Do you understand that?
Wait, what about the nuclear bomb? That was miracle?
Did you listen to anything I said? Can you repeat it back to me?
Yeah, the nuclear bomb one. I didn't heard that one.
Okay, can you repeat what I just said back to me?
I didn't heard clearly. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so the luminosity that it would have to take in order to imprint some kind of image on a shroud would be akin to a nuclear bomb.
It would even be more than that, my brother.
Yeah.
We've never had that much light where it comes to the Shroud of Sharon. Even if a nuke went off, even if a volcano went off, we can never produce that much light.
Wait,
And it's on the
Even
first
even
year
even
of
even in the after effects of the nuclear bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki and the imprint it left, of the people on the ground, even to that extent, with the specificity itself, of the image implanted onto the concrete, even that itself is not as clear, far from rather, than that of the shroud.
wait, you guys think when they found the shroud, Turin of Shroud, that there was an extreme light which was
Yes,
more.
luminosity. It was Jesus Christ's body. Jesus,
I
Jesus
never
Christ's
heard that
body
before.
ascending into heaven.
It's saying that the image itself, even when it is actually analyzed, but in the in photo negative, you can actually determine the express amount of light necessary to implant a physical image, a reflection of the suffering man onto the shroud. It would be impossible. It's like, for example, even if I were to rub my in paint, and I were to wrap myself as tight as possible surrounding a shroud in the heat of the sun with the very photons themselves hitting it, I wouldn't be able to implant that image with such
Wait,
specificity of the marks
y-
on my hands and my feet, the specific wounds from the lashings, the wounds as a result of the crowning of thorns, the actual facial hair of the man, the very fact that you have an imprint of the very coins that were on his eye, which were used at that time.
so wait,
the side as
so
well
he
with his
said
side
this miracle
hairs.
happened,
It is
and
a
you were
miracle.
saying
What?
it didn't?
No, it is a
Who's saying
miracle.
it is a miracle?
You.
No, you're saying that only the recorded miracles occurred in the past 500 years. I gave you a symmetry breaker, which would be the Shroud of Turin.
Okay, but my question was,
Also,
what
look
are the
into Our
miracles
Lady
happen
Guadalupe.
within the years?
Look into Our Lady of Guadalupe and the colors that was when Saint Juan Diego he came to the bishop and he opened up his cloak and the flowers that came, but also he was even surprised that there was Our Lady of Guadalupe was printed onto the cloak. Those colors that's on there, they don't exist. We might look at them in our normal eye and see turquoise and the rest of the colors there, but by science, they do not exist. Also, as well about Our Lady Guadalupe, you can see in her eyes, right, the reflection of actually the eye, and it's like our own pupil in our own eye, right? And
And
on
it's
top of
said that
that,
imprinted, hold on, just to clarify, because you mentioned the eye,
again,
it's said to be imprinted the actual image of Juan Diego himself.
yeah, but
yeah,
in the
again,
right eye.
on the
problem is
reflection
that
of our eye.
he's talking about, he said, no recorded miracles after 500 years, right? He's saying in the past 500 years there hasn't been a
Well,
recorded
to be
miracle.
technical, this wasn't 500 years because this was actually 1531, I think. So actually, it's lesser than 500 years. We're in year 1025 right now. But if we want to, we could talk about our Blessed Lady. Oh, here, I have another miracle about Our Lady Guadalupe. When it got passed for abortion, right, you can see that when it happened, the light that was reflected on Our Blessed Lady's womb, right, exactly where the womb is, right, the time when they were saying the Mass for America because abortion got passed. If they look at that light, they know that the light never reflected off anything, and they know that
Yeah,
the
but
light came from the picture.
that's not the symmetry. The symmetry breaker here, he's saying
That
that.
was only lately, brother. That was only the last like
Yeah, yeah,
70
no, he's
years.
saying that in the past 500 years, there's only been a case of recorded miracles. So I'm stating that the Shroud of Turin that existed in the year 33 Anno
Oh, I get you
Domini.
now. Sorry. Yeah. So he's talking about beforehand, before the
Yes,
500.
yes,
Oh,
yes.
No,
sorry.
actually, to be honest, I ask what are the miracles we have with evidence that happened within 500 years?
Okay, but then
Oh,
so
okay. All right, okay.
yeah.
Never
Okay, so then we have then, as I said, Our Lady Guadalupe, and the last thing that I just mentioned, right, about Our Lady Guadalupe was about I think probably about 7 years ago, maybe 57 years ago. Then we have Our Lady appearing, right, all around the world, you can say. So Our Lady appeared in Egypt, Our Lady appeared in Lourdes, Our Lady appeared in Knock here in Ireland, Our Lady appeared in Fatima. Like you can see all the holy shrines, Medjugorje, all around the world. So, and there's been many people. Okay, Padre Pio, we have Padre Pio as well, that there was a woman that was born blind. She had no pupils in her eyes. She went to Padre Pio and Padre Pio blessed her and then she could see, but still she had no pupils in her eyes. So then it shows if a person has no pupils in their eyes, it's impossible for them to see. So here you go. There's another miracle, right? You could look this up. There was people as well that was had cancer, that the cancer was completely removed. There was people that could not walk. There was people that was cured from leprosy, right? There's been
mind.
many.
Any
The
Yeah.
other
any
thing would
particular
be
miracle?
the miracle at St. Lawrence, right? The water at St. Lawrence. People even go to France and they go to they drink the water from St. Lawrence and they get cured rather. And there's also the miracle of Saint Bernadette's incorruptible body.
Yeah, God bless it. Padre Pio was the same as well. And I've seen that firsthand as well in Lourdes, the miracles that's in Lourdes. God bless it. Um, You can look into it, by the way. You can see all these miracles. And what the brother mentioned about the Holy Eucharist, it being the body and blood, soul, and divinity of our Lord, when the accidents change, we could even see that there. Now, excuse me, sorry, because I don't know the proper word, but I'll try to explain as best I can. Probably one of the brothers know what I'm speaking about.
Trans- transubstantiation, right?
No, not
So
about that. Yeah, no, not about that, my brother. I was speaking about this. Like a person, let's say you have two parents. Well, let's say you're born with two parents. You have two. So let's say you have like CC from one parent, and you have another CC from the other parent.
alleles, it's like a Punnett square, alleles.
Is that what it's called? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, in the Holy Eucharist, that when it changed, the accidents like changed to what it actually is. When they tested it, they seen that it was a tissue near the heart, and that there was two C's that came from the mother, but let's say one C that came from the father. Right. When usually in everyone else there should be two on both sides. The shout of Sharon as well. They tested that was the exact same. So CC is not the right word for it, but if you look into it, you'll see what I'm talking about. I think you
Yeah.
said the
So
right thing for it. Yeah.
yeah. So when we look at the occidental miracles or the occidental changes within the Eucharist itself, right? When they analyze them via these different Eucharistic miracles, they analyzed them and they saw that they actually changed forms. And even when we look at the Shroud of Turin, when they analyzed it, the alleles, they only had the mother's alleles. They did not have the father's alleles because they did not exist whatsoever. So when we look at DNA as being something that is composite of both the mother and the father, they could not quantify the father's alleles whatsoever.
Yes, thank you for explaining that. Yes, but there is many miracles. Like, we'll be here all day. By the way, there's other things as well that people have said novenas to saints, and they've asked saints like Saint Teresa of the Little Flower. They've asked her for a rose from heaven. They would particularly ask for a certain rose, and it would be sent to them. So down to a small to the biggest, we can mention.
So you said about the pupil thing. You said so there is a someone that had no pupil,
That's right.
y-
A woman.
and
Yeah.
they got the pupil in miracle.
No,
Yeah.
they never. So
No,
this what
no, no,
happened.
no, no, no.
So
They got
no,
sight, not the pupils themselves.
yes. So she got sight, but still no pupil. So everyone could see. It is impossible for her to see without the pupil, right? So
Yeah.
even afterwards, they were shocked. She was born blind. She was born without a pupil, and then Padre Pio blessed her by the grace of God. She was healed, but still she had no pupil. So this here is a miracle because if you type
Is
her
that
in,
for temporary or like is it still see able to see
up,
it?
up to the time that she
Yeah,
died,
Padre
she could
Pio
see.
is pretty contemporary.
Up to the time that she died, she could see. And Padre Pio was recently, yes, God bless
Yes,
him. Yeah.
yes.
You can look at, and he also had the stigmatas of our Lord Jesus Christ. There's been many other miracles as well about him. It's even captioned, even in war. There were soldiers who was going to that little town where Padre Pio was to leave off bombs. And they were all going to Padre Pio and asking him what should they do. And he said, don't leave the town. Anyway, long story short, whatever happened, you see that the planes came over the town to let the bombs go. But what
Shalom
happened was,
Aleichem.
anyway, on
Okay,
both
so
sides,
just one
Now it's
question,
um,
right?
easier. Now it's
yeah,
So
easier.
within 200 years, we didn't had any other case like this that doctors have
No,
actually
no,
figured
actually, we
out
had
that this is
multiple
not
cases.
miracle.
no,
Hold
we
on,
have,
we had multiple cases like this, and it's the same thing, right? So
yes,
when we look at the miracle of Fatima, when did that occur? Not too recently ago,
yeah,
by the way.
It was in
even
1917.
so no, even the other day ago, the youth, the young youth group that I think it was like probably about a year ago, maybe 2 year ago, in America, all there was like a load of young boys and girls. They were in a holy shrine. The Pope came there. Anyway, she received the Holy Communion. She got a blessing, and this girl was blind, but now she can see. She was. This has only been like last 2 year ago, I think, maybe even a year and a half ago. If you look it up, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's the big youth day that happened about 2 year ago when the Pope went to America. Sure was America. If you type it in, it should come up anyway. World Youth Day,
And then
Catholic Church.
furthermore, it shouldn't be the symmetry breaker that you say, oh, this miracle didn't occur 1 year, 1 day, whatever, 200 years, 300 years, 500 years. There are proven miracles, even by your own scientific epistemology, that exist. So doesn't that make sense that there is something greater than you that exists in the universe?
No, it's just there is a something is very big, right? Which is the people. We're talking about religion and many big stuff, and whoever people made it, right? It's just I mean, I can of course can't prove, but there's this thing, right? So they
You believe
made
in
it, right?
objective truth.
It's really important and it's
Oh, hold on. Do
very
you believe in
big
objective truth?
achievement to create a fake evidence, stuff like that.
You
So
cannot
it's just hard to
you
believe
cannot
from me
recreate
as
the Shroud
personally.
of Turin. You understand that, right?
I'm not saying it's not happened. I'm just saying it's just hard to believe it's
No,
a
I'm saying
miracle.
it's impossible to recreate the Shroud of Turin.
Huh? Gospel to recreate Shroud of Turin?
It's
Yes,
impossible, he said.
it's
Impossible,
impossible.
not gospel. Impossible.
Oh, so what is it that you mean impossible?
So when we look at dendrite studying, right? So dendrite studying is the studying of the tree rings, but when you expound that out, you also get into the different pollen levels that existed at the time. So the material on the Shroud of Turin was exposed to different levels of pollen that existed at that time that are dated back by other historians, scientists, whatever you want to call it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we can look at the Shroud of Turin. It possesses these qualities of the exposure to these different pollen shrouds. And then also, what you would have to understand is that they have actually cut off pieces of the Shroud of Turin. They've tried to test it multiple different times, and they have never been able to recreate anything like it because they can't. And there's actually been multiple different sources of these different vectors of attack against the Catholic Church that have tried to recreate the Shroud of Turin. They can't. It's impossible.
You're talking about the material, right? Like the clothes.
No, I'm not talking
Um,
about the material. It's not clothes either. It's a burial shroud. Talking about what the Shroud of Turin is ontologically.
So, brother, let's try and explain it this way. So, what we're speaking about is the cloth that our Lord, when he got crucified, that they wrapped him up and they put him in the tomb in this cloth, right? So, what the brother
mhm,
is trying to explain to you is, if you look into this cloth,
mhm,
sorry, I got a phone call. Sorry. So, the brother is trying to explain to you is, if you look into this cloth, right, that there, our Lord says that he is the light, right, which he is. Now, they have studied about how much light that we have on earth, right? And there's not, as all their studies that they would say, there has never been this much light. Even if a nuke was to go off, it
mhm.
wouldn't produce this much light, right?
That's
Even if
what
a
the other guy was
tornado,
saying, right? He's
yeah,
talking about like the Hiroshima, Nagasaki. There was not like defined imprints.
yeah. And it's on the first layer, right? On the cloth.
Then how do humans able to see it?
So you can say it. So there's been studies, like you can type it in if you'd like to, the Shroud of Sharon, and there's been 3D studies on it. The first study that they did, they took from a part of the cloth that was basically, there was a sewing that the nuns used to do before if something was ripped. So the first test that they did, they tested it on that part, right? That part was a newer part. Now they've done more testing on it and they see that it dates back all the way back to our Lord, right? And you can see in the Shroud of Sharon, right, the way that our Lord like looks like, right? The crown of thorns on his head, his side is pears, the eyes, as the brother was talking about, the kinds, right?
Yep,
His
horns.
arms and his feet, right? His are pears like through his wrist and his feet, showing that this was, and it's mentioned in the scripture as well, that they put a cloth wrapped around him. Also, as well, on top of that, there's been other photos that people have taken in holy shrines all around the world, and the same photo that's in the Shroud of Sharon, the same man, right, is in their photos in the film. You can see it. You can type it on YouTube. I think it's the 16 miracle photos that lines up with the Shroud of Sharon. It's the same man. All
So
around the world, you can see the same eyes, same nose, same mouth, same beard, hair, the lot.
okay, I will do a little bit more research on that. But so the Sound of Throne still exists, right? They still
Yes,
have it,
yes,
right?
Yes,
yes,
it's
yes.
kept in the
If
Vatican
if
right
they
now.
do open, there will be still light, right?
So when
Most
you say light, oh, you think, no, no, brother. So let me
no, no,
explain.
no. The luminosity is what imprinted Jesus's face onto the Shroud of Turin and Jesus's body and our Lord Christ. That's what imprinted it, but it's not that it has luminosity itself. That makes zero sense.
Yes, so the print of it. So when you make a picture, you take a flash, right? And then it prints. You get what I'm talking about? So that's what we're speaking about. The light came
Okay.
from it
Mm,
at that time, right? But
mhm.
they, because they studied into it and they look into it, they say it's impossible. This light is never been seen. How can this be? So it's a
Yes,
miracle in its own, right? Because we don't have that much light in this world, right? Except from our Lord. Our Lord said He is the light. So that's why science said it cannot be answered, right? So, unlike the other things that I was speaking about, the science say it cannot answer. It's a
yeah, and
miracle.
also to just tail end this real quick. They've tried to reproduce the Shroud of Turin multiple times. They cannot do it. at all. They've never been successfully able to do it because there's no amount of luminosity that exists within the world that would make it even possible.
Do people deserve to see the Shroud of Turin like in real?
Yeah, but
Yeah, and
it's
if you go to Vatican City, what are you talking
yeah,
about?
but it comes out so like for instance, I don't know when the next time it comes out, but it's in a big frame, right? And you can go there and you can see it. But I think it's like every few year it comes out. They let you see the Shroud of Sharon.
Yeah, it's
So
Jubilee. It's Jubilee,
yeah.
right?
So and like for instance now they have the holy doors opened in the where the Vatican is. They only open for 1 year every 25 year, right?
Yes,
So
correct.
yeah, so we have certain like over being because obviously it's very precious to us, you know. So it only comes out in special times, but you can go and see it when it does come out.
Mm.
God bless it.
I've never seen a
Hmm.
single miracle in my life. Never. I don't know
It
about you
doesn't matter
guys.
if you've seen a single
It's a
miracle in your
miracle that
life.
you're alive, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's also true, right?
I mean, it's just
When you look at
kind
the
of like,
complex combination of different carbon atoms that gave you life, if there it was simply randomness and there's no order whatsoever, then it could be necessarily the case that they overlap, correct?
isn't miracle is like something that is happened against the normal laws of the nature?
Yeah, but the laws of the nature themselves are given to us by God. Do you agree with that at least? Do you believe
But
that there are
yeah, I'm just
transcendental
specifically,
hold on. Do you agree that there are transcendental categories that exist?
yes, of course.
Yes. So if that is the case, then these transcendental categories that we're looking at,
And
such
they
as
have their own laws too.
no, such as logic, such as epistemology, such as knowledge, morality, all these different transcendental categories would have to stem from something that is a transcendental being, correct?
Yeah, but I cannot consider them as miracles because they're constantly existing. It's not like, happening like once in a while. So me existing is not a
Yeah, but
miracle,
hold
but
on,
it's
hold on,
just
hold on. You're not
the
really
law.
following what I'm saying. Do you concede that these transcendental categories, such as uh, logic, the mind, all morality, all these different transcendental categories would have to come from a transcendental being?
That's what says in the Bible, isn't it?
Not quite.
I mean, morality it doesn't specifically objectively exist from the thing which you're calling transcendental. From that,
Why would that be
it's
the case?
not.
So
It's not, I'm saying.
if there's a transcendental being that created everything, then why would morality not exist from that transcendental being?
There, there is like, there is no specific objective morality. If
There
you
is.
talking
There
about,
would necessarily have to be.
so you like, are you telling the morality which is in the Bible, those things that came from the transcendental thing?
It has nothing to do with the Bible at this point. I'm simply just stating a logical syllogism. So if there's a transcendental category such as logic, morality, then necessarily it would not be via naturalism that these things could be made, right? Not naturalism, materialism, physicalism, whatever other category that you want to bring it up, right?
So, where
Necessarily, it
are
would
you
be the case
saying?
that it would also have to be transcendental, correct?
Yeah, I get it. You're saying there is like beyond physical, there is a thing called belief, morality, and stuff
No,
like this.
no, that's not what I'm saying at all. Can you repeat back my argument for me, please?
Well, you said there is a morality from transcendental, right? That's what you
Yes.
said, and I said no. Then you said yes, there is exist, and after that, I don't
No,
understand what you said.
I said it can not be possible that there is not a morality that stems from an objective moral standard, which would be a transcendental being.
How would I understand that? No, I don't understand it, man. Like you would have to make it a little bit simpler.
Maybe
Over.
you go into it. I'm gonna smoke a cigarette.
Okay, can make it simple, you know.
Oh,
Did
it's yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
oh no, I was just trying to ask my brother. Your view, when like we came into, let's say, how everything came into existence, did something come out of nothing, or was there always a something?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is nothing. I believe there is nothing like called, something came out of nothing. It's just constantly, like it's existing. Like I wouldn't put any beginning or source.
Okay. So there was always a something, right? There was never
Yes.
a time that there was not this something. Okay. So this something, does everything rely on this something?
Is this something rely on something? What you mean?
No, no. Does everything else in existence, does it
Hmm.
rely on this something?
Wait, hello?
So you said that there's a something that has always been there, right?
Hmm. Yes.
Right. So what I'm asking you is, it's something, whatever you're calling it, right? So
Hmm.
we're addressing it as something, right? So this
Yes.
something, does everything rely on it?
Um, Everything rely on it, like,
Yeah.
uh,
So if it ceased to exist, this something right now,
mhm,
right? Would
yes.
everything else in existence fall out of place? Basically, everything could go boom.
Um, well, it's the way it is, right? So
So we
if
need this
everything,
something. We need this something. We all need it, correct? For
yeah,
existence.
everything on its place, you're right. And there's no way we can actually take the things out of its place. There's no way.
Okay. Okay. So for instance, this something is out of space, time, and present, and everything is relying on it, and it created all things, correct?
Um, Space, time, and present, right? I mean, we're talking about like,
It's yeah.
the
Space, time,
time
and
which is,
matter, sir.
yeah, I'm saying the time and all that we need, the distance and the speed and all that. So there could be things, beyond the time and all, but
So
still,
it's out of that. It's out of that, right? Because time was created, right?
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
there is a time, like no time, outside of the time. Yes. Then what's your point?
okay. So then this something, what you're speaking about, is God. It's just you want to call it a something. Because even us here being on this, like the world, right, the universe,
Hmm.
okay, so when we look at the world, we look at the rest of the planets, the way that we are, even like how low that we are, right, if we were just a little bit lower, right, we would get lost, right, and we would keep going down in gravity, right, so the world could not exist. We couldn't have life. If we're a bit closer to the sun, right, with the world would go on fire, right?
Okay, cool.
So
Hmm.
okay. So by even that alone, right, we can see, right, that that is a miracle. Never mind to the
Okay,
fact
okay.
that
That is a human
your
perspective.
no, so on it. If we're going to examine anything, we're humans. So we're going to
Yeah,
examine it
no, no,
by
no.
humans, right?
Seriously, I agree. But
Okay then.
you as a human perspective, you can call that as a miracle. You can call that, oh wait, so this actually so perfect and all that, right? And you think, okay, if it is perfect, that means
Mhm.
someone has to be designed that way. It's just,
And we know who,
it's
but
just
we
a
already know who designed it though, because you already said this something that designed it. It's not like any other creation because it's not created. It
no.
created everything.
I would never say something like designed. I never say somebody designed because I don't even believe it is designed. It's just
But
the way it
but
is.
but 1 second.
We believe it is designed because we created the time, mathematics, and geometry and stuff like that.
But you believe it's
Because we
created,
have to,
right? You believe it was created, and you believe who created it. You called it something, and you believe that everything relies on that something. So, for instance, if you have a problem by just saying that it's designed, well, we can see that we are designed. We can see down to our DNA we're designed. We can see what way our bodies is designed, right? How
Okay,
even
so
everything around us. So 1 minute, brother, just 2 seconds. If I put a
mhm,
pen in front of you, right? Never mind to
mhm,
a building, never mind to a painting. I put a pen in front of you and I said, someone had to design this. Someone created this. And you
mhm,
said, no, no one created this. Who would
mhm.
look more intelligent by just pointing out the obvious?
Yeah, so you give me example of a
Who?
pen too, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying, right, by you saying no one created it, right, and then saying,
Mhm.
well, I don't know if someone created or not, then I would look
Did
at you and
someone
say you're
created the pen?
delusional, right? Correct?
Okay, okay. So if you're done, I will tell you. Did someone created the pen?
So, well, actually, I'm going to play your view. I don't know if someone created the pen, but yet there's a pen
No,
right
no,
in
no.
front of
I
you.
want your view. I want your view.
Okay, well, look, I'll say this, right? For order for there to be a pen there, it has to come from somewhere, right? So, on this pen,
Okay,
the way
fine.
it's made, the way
Okay,
this pen, the way it's made, how did this get into existence?
okay.
And
There is a difference
the
between
purpose
natural
of the
and
pen, and that's
artificial.
only a pen.
Yeah,
That's only
but
a pen.
again, when we look at this conflux of different situations, what do you mean there's a difference between natural and artificial? When we look
Okay.
at what is the material that created the pen, is that artificial itself, or is it the material that created the
No,
pen?
no, no. So exactly. Then you can say those, those material. Don't say the pen then. Say the material. Because when you say the pen, we're talking about something humans have reformed those
I'm trying
natural
to,
materials.
Yeah, but
I'm trying
again,
to
It's
but
a
break down.
reform.
if
It's
they
not a
are
creation.
natural materials, then you would have to explain where they came from, right? And
No,
why
so
they
this
are there.
thing, see, the question is itself the wrong because it's.
How?
I told you from the beginning. I don't think it came from anything, right? It's just a infinite, loop.
No,
It's
you
Okay,
do
just.
believe it came from everything.
hold on,
You do.
hold on,
I
hold on.
don't. I don't.
You've
So
already
And I was gonna
succeeded.
tell.
let me just let me just press him down on this logic real quick. Are you familiar with thermodynamics at all?
Thermodynamic. Well, I did heard about it. Yes, I must have
So,
known it.
so in thermodynamics, the second law of thermodynamics is, or the first law of thermodynamics rather, is energy cannot be created or destroyed. The second law of thermodynamics talks about how energy changes from one workable form of potentiality to the other, right? So, if we look at the case of this, are you familiar with the heat death of the universe? Are you familiar with that at all?
Heat of the universe.
Heat death.
Heat death. No, I don't know that.
Okay, so the heat death of the universe is when there's no longer any kind of potentiality within energy whatsoever. So if
Mm-hmm.
energy has always existed, the logical conclusion would be that we would have already reached the heat death. So
Okay.
necessarily it could not be the case that energy is infinite unless it comes from an objective being God that has infinite energy.
Okay. Okay. So, Sissy, when you're talking about, something when it came from and all that, let's just not use the word God. Okay. Let's just
No,
use
let's
some
use the word
scientific
God.
words.
Let's use the word
Seriously,
God because that's the only thing
because
that it could possibly
Use the
be.
word creator.
yeah, I get it. I mean, it's came from the God word came from the religion. Let's just use some different scientific word if possible for you. I'm saying
There's no
because
scientific
I don't
word
know
that
if
can
there's
be
a
used to
scientific word
explain
like
God.
creator.
no. So you just coming directly to the conclusion. If these all this
No, you're
the
coming to a
energies.
conclusion. You're coming to a conclusion from naturalism, which I just logically spelled out. That's not even humanly possible whatsoever. That's not possible at all. So necessarily it would have to be something that is uncreated, right?
You're
Exactly.
saying
And
necess.
you've already granted that, brother, what you just previously said. The issue that
No,
you have
I
is,
didn't though.
but the issue, yeah, you did, because earlier I said, I asked you about this something. right?
Yeah, about the
And
relying thing, right?
the views that you said about this something, right? That is God. It's just you have a problem of saying what it is because
No,
you want
I
to
was
put it
actually
down
gonna.
to, yeah.
So please let me
So when
talk.
we look at Anselm's definition of God, right? Anselm's definition of God is the greatest maximal being. So if you imagine something that is greater than God, you can't,
You guys
because
are
the
stuck. You guys are
existence of
putting the beginning by just yourself. You just
what?
guys putting the.
What's that? Sorry.
I'm
Repeat that.
saying you guys just putting the beginning by just saying there is God, but
No,
you
no, no.
guys not
No, it's
So
a
thinking
you,
there is a
holistic worldview. No, it's a
hold on for a
there's
holistic
a
second.
worldview.
I asked
possibility
you,
of it being
brother,
infinite.
one minute. I asked you at the
No,
start,
no, it's
right?
not possible that it's infinite, because if we look at the laws of nature themselves, when we look at thermodynamics and we look at the potentiality of energy, then it cannot be possible that energy itself created everything that we have, and it's an
Yeah.
infinite loop. We
No,
would
no,
have
no.
to have a starting point for energy,
Wait,
correct?
so
Okay.
geopolitics, do you
So
understand
I
that
never said
energy?
energy, like, it's got created and all that. It's just, we're talking about, the beginning of the whole existence, right? So that's what I'm saying.
If
Like,
there is a start
So
there
point, then
is
it
geopolitics,
cannot
no.
be
right?
based
Hold on,
on
geopolitics,
naturalism.
yeah. If there is a start point to the
So
universe,
when,
then the energy that is in the universe had to have been there, right? And it can't just have appeared out of thin air. That's the point.
okay, so okay, right now I'm saying you say there has to be energy for the energies, right? Oh, wait, there
Yes,
has to be a
because
No,
source
energy
for the
cannot be
energies,
no,
right?
created or
matter cannot be
destroyed. It
created nor
just
destroyed.
changes
Fine,
But
fine, fine.
if the
Yeah,
universe
there
had a
has to be a
beginning, then
source
there
for the
had to have
energies,
been
right?
energy, and it had to come from somewhere.
So why can't you think there has to
And
be
if
a
there's
source
also a
for the
beginning of
sources?
hold
Wait,
on,
wait,
if
wait.
there's a beginning of the universe, that would entail logically, correct, that there's something that created the beginning, right?
No, again, you come into the conclusion again. Okay.
How?
I
Brother,
How
mean,
was
brother,
it?
one minute, one. No offense to
yes,
you.
you come
No
in,
offense to
just
you, Tom.
putting the
One
beginning.
second.
That's it.
You've already gathered this. You've already gathered this because earlier, right?
No,
And
no,
this
you
is
didn't.
really,
You just
this
saying that
just
again
shows
and
you how
again,
sensitive.
but you
No, one
didn't
minute.
though.
This just shows you how sensitive that you are and how much that you don't want to give face to God. Because
I am
earlier when
sensitive.
I asked you, one second, earlier when I asked you, and I said, I asked you about this something, right? And I said to
Mhm.
you, is it out of time, space, and present? Is everything relying on it? Has everything come into being created by it? You said yes. Now,
No,
when
no,
we
no,
tell
no.
you it's God, you have a
That,
problem.
that's
You did. You
that's not
said
what I
yes.
mean.
You said yes to
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I
I
went
said
down.
okay, okay. So let me finish. I get it. Let me finish. When I say yes, I misunderstood in other things. That is not what I mean when I said yes. Right
So, what did you
now,
mean? How else
you're
did you
saying in
mean
a
yes
different
then?
way.
How else did you? No, I did
Okay.
not say it differently. I asked you step by step. I asked you. You
Mhm.
kept saying yes, yes. You
No,
guaranteed
no,
what I
you.
said, and
This
then
is
when we
not the
called the
way you
God, you
asked
had
me,
a
by the way.
problem. Yeah,
This is
All
sure.
right,
not
You
the
all
way
right.
can
Let's
you
go
can
about
you
lead
this
asked
you
me.
from
can lead a horse. You can lead a horse to water.
look. Let's just go about this from a different
You
viewpoint.
can't make him drink it.
Can you explain via naturalism why the laws of logic exist?
Uh, what do you mean? Like, can you say in a simple words, please? I'm not too scientific.
Okay, so naturalism is the belief that essentially everything is just nature. Materialism is the
Mhm.
belief that everything is material.
Okay.
Physicalism is there's nothing that exists outside the physical. So,
Okay.
via that, when we look at these different transcendental categories, such as the laws of logic, how can you explain how they would be fomented or ins- uh, instrumentalized
How they
by
designed?
like how can they possibly exist? So when we look at the law of excluded middle, non-contradiction, what's the last one? Someone help me out. Excluded middle, non-contradiction, law of identity. How
So
can you
when you say
explain how can these
how can
things
this?
possibly exist, and they are the basis
Okay.
for our understanding of rationalism at all, and then also furthermore they are the basis of how things are formed in the first place.
See, yes, of course. Everything which in our perspective, everything is,
No, it's not
everything
our
is in or.
perspective because again,
Oh my God,
so
it is, it is. See,
no, no,
the
it's
the
not in our
universe itself. Universe itself
Hold
doesn't
on now, hold on.
understand what is a correct.
let me just
This is,
let me just do a simple symmetry breaker,
like, you
and
guys
then
don't let me speak
you
at
can
all.
speak. Yeah, great. So let me just do a simple symmetry breaker. Is a rock still a
Sure.
rock prior to the existence of human beings?
Wait, are you like drawing something?
What?
Are you drawing something?
No, the brother's asking you, is a rock still a rock, even without existence of human beings?
The who is asking?
Oh, okay. So you're asking that way. If rock is a rock without existence of human being,
Yeah, so it cannot
um,
necessarily be prescriptive. It would have to be descriptive of reality, correct?
yeah, like, I mean, I get it. Without humans, we wouldn't even call, like, who's gonna even stay here to call it actually a rock, to even recognize
No,
it's a
no,
rock?
I'm talking about the
No, but it
ontology
still
of
be a
what a
rock.
rock is.
So the
Yeah,
brother
what do
is
you
trying
say?
to point out it's not, no, just because we are human beings and because we call it a rock, it doesn't matter. Even if we didn't exist, a rock would still be a rock without our existence because that's what it is. That's what the brother's trying to point out to you.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, of course it would be, but I'm just saying the word, like the rock,
Yeah,
would be.
the etymology doesn't matter whatsoever. We could call
Yeah,
it a
okay.
pebble, we could call it a stone, we could call it in different languages, for example, right?
Yeah, after the human existence.
It really doesn't matter. We can make up different languages. We can, let's say we go in the year 2500 or 2055, and then uh, they make up another language. It doesn't matter. It's still a rock, right?
That's just the way that we describe it. It doesn't
Yeah,
impact it's
let's
in
just focus.
existence
Let's
or
just
not,
focus on the picture of the rock and forget the name. Continue.
but it exists. Even before we named it, it exists.
Yeah. Yes, I
Exactly.
agree. I
So
said
that's
yes.
exactly what the brother is saying. Just because that, like, we're naming something and you're saying as us as humans, oh, because we're recognizing this. No, it's already existed.
No, no,
It
no.
doesn't matter if
Again,
we
again, you
recognize it or
misunderstood.
not. It exists.
Yes, but you misunderstood what I'm trying to say.
Okay, what are you
I'll tell
trying to
you.
say?
So so rock is a thing. Forget it. We're talking about order, disorder, right? How is it an
Entropy?
order? Okay, let me finish. How is it order or disorder, right? How, like, what is the definition? Who created the definition? According to who? According to what? Like, according to who? What a order is? What a disorder is? It's according
Yeah,
to the
but
humans.
no, that belies the point that I was making in the first place. Point that I'm making is that when we look at the classical laws of logic, identity, excluded middle, non-contradiction, when we look at these different laws, you cannot explain them from your own paradigm. It's impossible. It's literally impossible
Possible what?
because in the entailment of that would be that you need to use these laws in order to formulate these laws, right?
Yeah, see, I'm not saying you shouldn't, have a definition,
No,
as
you're
a
not really
through
understanding
human.
what I'm saying here. I'm saying that in order to formulate these laws, because I'm saying what created these different transcendental categories, and you're saying, oh, nature created them, but it's impossible because absent of these different laws, nature cannot even be cohesive at all. Do you understand that at least?
See, what I'm understanding, you saying everything is in order, then there must has to be a God. That's your point.
And that is actually exactly true, though. Is the thing.
No, that
How
is
would
not
that
true.
not be
That's
the
what I'm
case? How
saying.
would
Hold on.
that
Right
not
Let's
be the
then.
case?
Show
geopolitics.
us.
Hold on.
Show us then.
Geopolitics.
Show
We'll
us
do.
how organized came out of chaos. Show
Okay,
me.
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Show
I'll
me.
tell you, right? Who decides what is organized, what is not organized? Who come up with this
We did.
organized and disorganized definition?
Okay.
Who decides
It
this?
So
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who came up with the
so
No,
definitions.
it does matter.
yeah,
Order.
yeah.
And
You're
So
just
one
saying there's order out of chaos. So
yeah.
prove that to be the case.
ordered out of chaos.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
what you're
that's what you
saying is that
claimed.
you can
So
just have order come about randomly.
It's
I don't understand.
impossible. It's literally
So
impossible to make
order,
that claim.
right? We could describe as something that has like sort of rules and laws, like the laws of logic. that follow patterns in that way, but chaos, being like the opposite of that, doesn't. Right?
Oh, you saying like there is there is love, then there is opposite called hate. Now there is
No,
good, there is
love,
opposite called
no,
bad.
This is
So
not
these
the
are the.
answering the
no,
question.
no,
That's not answering the question.
not love.
I'm not answering. I'm repeating. I'm confirming the
No,
question that I actually understood what you're saying.
no. So no, I don't
I'm
mean
repeating the
anything like
question.
love
Wow.
or hate. Laws. Just the fact that there's rules, right, in this universe, right? For example, even like the first or second law of thermodynamics, the fact that they exist and that we can repeatedly see the same thing, uh, seems to point to the idea that there's actual laws and order, right? And these don't just randomly change. If the like initial part of the universe was innately chaotic, then it means that there's no basis for any of these laws, right? Because they
But
could just
again,
change
that
whenever they
that
wanted.
belies the point in the first place, because if there's an initial part of the universe, then what created the universe?
Yeah, still. I mean, yeah. The eternal would have to be like the universe would have to be eternal and then innately chaotic, but then you don't have
Universe.
any laws still. Like,
So
And
when you say the
if
universe,
hold on,
you said there is.
hold on, buddy. Let me just finish my point here, and then you can go and ahead and speak. So, if the laws were chaotic and they simply just mapped onto reality in different ways, for example, when we look at the classical laws of logic that I brought up, if it were the case that was chaotic and there was no order, then necessarily would be the case if it was infinite that they would map over each other, correct?
yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
Do you
You
get that
mean all your
politics or?
science? You have a God now?
You guys are. I'm just like not in a
You
bad
just
way. I'm
said,
just saying.
oh, your God. So you have a God now then.
Okay, stop,
No,
stop, stop.
I'm just saying that because it's just habit, and because I was atheist before, and I'm atheist now. It's just the
How
term
are
you
you a
guys talking
theist
is a different.
now?
No, I'm theist like from last a year. Okay, but I'm just saying like this is a habit of oh my God, there's nothing wrong with that. But
There
the
is
concept.
everything wrong with that. I'm
Aha,
the
Shroud
Lord
is
your
No,
saying
no,
God. Thou
I
shalt
don't
not use
believe
my
in the
name in
concept
vain.
of a
Yeah.
creation. See,
But you
see,
know what's
the
very funny? He
creation,
didn't
I
have an
disagree on
answer.
that
He
word.
didn't have an answer and he called out to God because he said, oh my God. I love
Yeah,
you,
I
my
did
Jesus.
say,
I
oh
love you,
my
my Lord
God,
and
what's the
Savior.
problem
Because
here?
it's
Yes,
got a
so you
habit.
didn't have an
But
answer. So you
doesn't
looked to God.
necessarily is the
So then one
definition
second.
saying as a
So one minute.
your
You
God.
did something.
this
Listen,
control.
listen.
Yeah,
You did something
yes,
though because,
we do believe in God. We have a different definition of God.
but one
So
minute,
what?
but 1 minute. When you
What do you
look
believe
for an
in? Do you
answer,
believe in
when
the
you look for an answer,
demiurge?
you
What do you
pointed to
believe in?
God.
What does that mean?
Do you believe in the
I can't
demiurge?
hear
What
you.
do you believe in?
You're asking the definition. What definition I believe in God?
Yes.
I believe the whole existence is God.
But the brother said that
Everything
earlier
in existence.
that if that for everything to come into existence, and so did I, that there has to be a God. You
No,
said to the brother that
but there
you
is
did
no
not want,
creation though.
but you said
There
to
is
the
no
brother that
creation.
you did not.
That makes no sense.
All right?
Not
Okay,
What?
everything.
okay.
Everything comes
Yeah,
into
of
existence
course it
So,
won't
by
make
God,
sense
but
because you
God
have a
did not
different
create
definition
it.
already.
Geopolitics, you're saying
See,
there's no
you
creation?
already have a different
You
definition and you
you just
thinking
contradicted
within
yourself,
that.
brother.
No, okay. So you're saying there's no creation, which means that
No
what
creation,
can
yes.
exist has always existed, which means the universe is eternal. So we're back to that same point from previously.
Yeah, yes.
You believe the universe is eternal.
That can't be.
We're already
That
back
Yeah.
in
can
That can't be
literally.
possible.
2020.
Maybe you should look
Eternal
into a man called Jimmy Collins, because this is laughable, brother. If you believe in science, we can
definitely is
even
not.
say that the universe has
Yeah.
been created.
Who
From
says?
geopolitics, right? We
We
already
know
proved
that the
that.
universe has been created. Look into a man
How do
called
you know
Jimmy Collins.
that's what we're
The
talking about, right?
science even knows
How do you
that.
know?
Okay. Oh,
Hold on,
hold
hold
on,
on.
hold
It
on.
was
Let's
already
go
said,
about this
right?
from a different angle. Let's see if this maps on. Have you ever seen something that's been
Yes.
uncreated without a cause?
Have I ever seen something created uncreated without a cause?
Absent of a cause, have you seen something that was created? Do you see something that is a causal chain that there's
Mhm.
no cause at all?
If I say if there is a pen, right, then I would say
But no,
somebody.
then
But that has a
multiple
cause, right?
people made the pen, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's not always
So
been just a pen, right?
Wait, wait.
Have you ever seen something come out of nothing? Have you ever seen
Uh,
that? Because to be honest with you, your view is
see,
saying that there's
see,
no miracles.
okay, let me just answer him first, then I'll come to you. So
No,
when
she's
we're
saying
talking
Same
the
about,
thing, the
same thing that
same.
I'm saying.
I'm asking the same thing what the brother is saying.
Yeah, but
okay, go for it.
she's boiling it down into a word she
Yeah,
can understand, I guess.
yeah,
Okay, please go for it.
yeah. So have you ever seen something come out of nothing?
Have I ever seen something come out of never?
Yeah. Have you ever seen something appear that came from
Yeah,
nothing?
doesn't mean we're gonna also think if the universe,
Just a yes
it's
or
just
no, brother. It's just a yes or no. Have you ever
it is
seen it?
not it's not that simple. Just because we're
Yeah,
talking about the pain,
it
we
is
cannot
Oh, it
that
consider
is.
about the
simple
whole
actually
existence
though.
itself.
Well, so you've never seen it then?
I just
You
said I
can.
did,
Oh, you
but
All
I'm
did
right.
see.
saying you're
What
giving
did
a
you see?
wrong
You
example.
saw it? What came out of
Well, what did
nothing?
you see? What did you see?
Oh my god. Okay, so you guys speak. Can I speak now? Because you guys are over talking.
Okay, because
Yeah, go
if
on,
you've
go
seen
on, go
something
on.
came
Wait.
from nothing, you have
I just said
problems,
one
right?
word and you guys talking. Like,
Okay.
please let me allow for a few seconds at least. So what I'm
Go
saying
on,
is
geopolitics.
okay, so example you gave of the pain example is does not apply when we're talking about the whole existence. We're talking about something within the existence. We're not talking about the whole existence.
I don't see how this is a symmetry
Yeah, I don't
breaker.
see how this.
You don't exactly right. You don't see the difference between how this example is not connected to
This is called
with
the
the whole
false
existence.
equivocation.
It's because you're
You
thinking
understand
within
what a false
everything.
equivocation is?
No.
Brother,
What is that?
so far, I just want to say this. So far, brother, he's seen something come from nothing. He's now got chaos
I
that
never
came
said that.
from
By the
God.
way, I never said that. Okay.
You've got
Okay.
organized by chaos. Oh, so you haven't seen something basically.
Why is it always like you
So,
change these
well, one
words?
minute,
Like I don't
brother.
understand.
Well, one second, brother. You believe right now, even these views of what you're saying, we have never seen these things happen. So you believe in miracles right now. The guy who said earlier that there was no miracles, you are
Ah,
now pointing
Yeah,
to
you believe
miracles.
Loki
You
actually.
believe
Yeah,
something
believe
came
in a
from
thing that's
nothing, brother. That has
never
to be a
seen,
miracle.
never heard of.
okay.
And
First of
you
all,
believe.
you have. Okay, are you done? Let me please speak now. First
Okay.
of all, exact sentence which you just said, I never said that. Please be accurate. Please be accurate
You
what you
did
Oh,
say
said
you
that
did.
though.
before.
You did say that.
I never
You did
did.
say that.
I never said something
You
came from
Oh my
literally
nothing.
said
goodness.
that you're
And
lying.
you
Now
said
you're
the
lying.
Yeah,
universe is eternal. No, no,
you did say it, and I asked you. You
no. They
said
said
that
it's
No,
you.
not
no,
created. The
don't
Okay,
universe
mute
is
okay.
him.
not
Listen.
created.
If anybody is recording, and if you show me the recording, I'll give you $15,000
Well,
right now.
You won't
Taco
give it.
usually
That's also a
records.
lie. You don't even
I'll
have
take that payment.
Show me the recording.
Geopolitics Talk. This will be on YouTube later.
Taco's
Okay,
getting
okay. So
getting
show me the
a
recording. Go for
Geopolitic
it.
subscription.
Talk.
You're
Hey,
gonna get
Geopolitic Talk.
$15,000.
This will be on YouTube later. I could absolutely use that money.
No, no. Yeah. Please show me the recording now. When did I say something came
You
from
did it.
nothing?
You said
Please
it
go
was
for it.
eternal. It'll be on YouTube later.
No, no,
Watch what
no.
he
You
says,
have
No,
because
to. You
no,
have to be
I
specific.
even I even pointed
Got
out to
him.
you. I
I
even pointed
never
out to you.
said. I never
You
said
did.
something came out of nothing. You lying
Yeah,
literally
You
to
the
never
get
said that.
entailment.
I
to
So
win the
agree.
hold on,
debate
hold
or
on,
It'll be
something.
on
I
the
don't know.
recording. I'll take this payment later. Don't worry.
the
No,
entailment
well,
of
who's
that
gonna
would
pay
be
you?
the
You said
entailment
you
of
would.
no, it's not
this.
the same as saying something
Oh,
came
now
from
you're
nothing.
saying you're not going to pay him.
Ah, that's terrible.
Don't mute
You're
him.
not a man of
Stop
your
that.
word. Ah.
You're at a
Taco, stop
You
non-understanding
doing
of what
that.
muted
he
me?
meant by
What?
because I mean he's saying that
Okay.
something
You
always
guys
came
just
from
screaming and
nothing,
you
but
think you won. Okay, fine.
But
Cool.
you
I'm
just
okay.
said if anyone is recording, you have
Yeah.
Taco
Girl,
that's
girl,
recording,
you
so
said
you will
something.
see then that you said it.
Okay.
Yeah, you
You
said
said
you would
something
feed
which I
me and my
didn't say,
family for a little
and you're
while.
saying I'm lying.
Wait,
Listen,
what?
Now
listen. I
How are
please
you
feed
gonna
know
spend?
what I
yourself,
How are
believe.
you
buddy.
gonna spend that 15,000 on it?
Gaslighting everyone.
And you
This
know
is
what?
gonna help you feed
You
yourself,
guys gonna
no,
Taco.
you
It's
guys
gonna
can
help you
believe
feed
whatever
yourself,
you
Taco.
want.
Geopolitics, okay. You take back what you said, whatever. Okay, continue.
Yeah, I was saying. So I didn't say that specific sentence, and he
Maybe
said
he
I said.
misspoke.
Okay,
That's
no
Okay,
fine.
problem.
again you
Okay,
interrupting,
let's go
guys.
ahead.
Just let me speak at
No, no,
least for 1 minute.
I'm saying,
Yeah,
Jesus,
I'm
I know you guys wanna
clarifying your
win the
own
debate. I
Hey,
get
position,
it.
whoa,
buddy.
hey, why are you taking the Lord's name in vain?
Like you guys don't even let me finish in
You know
within
what you're
30
denying.
seconds.
You know what you're denying.
Again, okay, how would you know? Like, just let me speak for 30 seconds at
Yeah,
least, please.
because
Like,
again, when we look at our moral
again,
epistemic,
see,
it's
they're
going to be
not even
based
letting me
upon
speak because they want to win
deontology.
the debate somehow. Fine, man.
That-
You guys
Okay, you're
win the
not
what
going to
debate.
win a
debate?
debate.
You guys are the winners.
All right.
What
There
debate?
is
Hey
no.
What
guys,
debate
to
are
be
we
fair,
having?
I think you were misrepresenting this position. Instead of this back and forth arguing with each other, why don't you allow them a moment to clarify, and then y'all can proceed from there. That I feel like that would be the
Yeah,
intellectually honest and fair way to proceed.
They're not letting me speak. They're not even giving
Go
me
ahead,
20 seconds
speak,
at least.
speak,
Oh,
speak,
boo
speak.
hoo. Where's
Okay,
the
let's take it back
15,000?
a step.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's take it back a
You
step.
guys just
Go
want
on.
to scream, that's all.
Okay, let's take it back.
Right.
Go ahead.
All right. So before, when you started talking, right? So you asked me specifically different stuff. You didn't ask me, do you believe something came from nothing? And that sentence, you never asked me that, and I never said from my mouth that something came from nothing. I never ever said that. Never.
Okay, great.
You
So,
saying I said that. I never said that.
Oh,
okay,
hold on,
okay.
hold on,
So
hold on. Let him
Taco.
clarify his position.
Okay, but I just want to say this, Taco. Go back to the video, the part
I can't
where
review it while I'm
Fight
recording,
asking
but
the
It
he.
same
doesn't matter. He
question.
doesn't believe it.
I
It
can't
doesn't
review
matter.
it
He
while
doesn't
I'm
believe it.
recording, but he
Please
never
All
go
said
right,
back,
that
okay,
please.
okay.
before.
So at the time, then you'll see where Fight asks him a question. I asked him the same, and he said he'll answer Fight, and then
Well,
he'll
Right,
answer
show me
me.
the
when we see
recording.
the
And
recording of
Fight
the video on
clarified and
YouTube,
showed it. But one
when we
second. So
Yeah,
Fight
show me the
hang
recording,
on,
please.
hang on. When we see the recording of the video on YouTube, what you're going to see is he never said what you're saying. He said, in addition, we're going to see him saying that he offered somebody $15,000 to provide the recording.
Yes,
Right. Okay. So
absolutely.
let
I will
me
give you
so let me
15,000
let
on
me
my
say it.
cash.
So when Fight said and I said we said the same thing. Fight made it very clear and said she's asking you the same question, but in an easier way. Did something come out of nothing, right?
Go for
And
it. I'll
then
give you
he said
$15,000.
yes. He said yes to that.
This will be on YouTube
Actually does,
tonight,
but
Go ahead.
probably.
yeah,
No
actually does.
worries. I
Don't
got
edit
you.
Yeah,
it. Don't edit it then.
Right, but I'm not going to edit the core of the conversation.
Okay.
yeah. Just take your time. So take your time. Send me the
By
recording.
the way,
I'll send you
you have no
$1,000.
permission to record me. Just letting you know.
No, you guys can
Go on,
record.
Reno.
Like,
Go
I'm
on.
fine with it.
That's why the Catholic Church is such a beautiful thing.
But
Because
geopolitics.
both her and me came to the same conclusion, right? Maybe
I
I
was
said
just
it
about
more
to.
Yes,
specific.
but not like
I
Yeah,
was
this.
go
just
ahead.
about to say that too. Yeah.
Geopolitics.
That's
Your
nicely
point.
young.
What's your point at the end?
My point is there is no creation. There is no beginning. You
How
stop
can that
putting it.
possibly be
Wait,
the case though?
wait. Let him finish. Okay,
Let him
repeat.
finish, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Me? Okay. I'm saying my argument is when they're talking about this concept of creation of the universe and all that, and when they talk about there is a beginning, which is they say as a God, that's what I disagree because I believe there is no beginning and there is
But
nothing created.
I
But,
Okay,
destroyed that
so yeah,
argument.
he already
but
did, but
You
so
didn't though. That's the whole point.
Yes,
We're
I
just
did.
okay, hold
continuing.
on. Geopolitics,
No,
you
you
need to
didn't.
understand then, right? That, for example, when it comes to energy, and I'll try to simplify this more, right? Whenever any
Mhm.
atom, for example, interacts with anything else, the effect that it has on the other isn't 100% efficient. So there are other sorts of forms of energy that it can take, like heat, friction, sound, right? But these are, and the point is that if the universe is eternal, right, we should
Mhm.
see a sort of rundown of energy that has essentially run out of power over time.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
You run out of. You mean
Like,
run out of the
again,
energy, like outside
yeah,
of the
run out of
energy?
energy. No, yeah, because so matter and energy cannot be created nor destroyed, right? But
Okay.
whenever anything interacts with each other, there's not
Mm-hmm.
100% of the energy that's being transferred. So there's some energy kind of being lost, you can say.
Yes, so
Okay.
it loses potentiality.
Also, you do believe that matter is created. So, like,
But brother,
Who? Who
earlier,
believes?
Who are you talking
no,
about?
the cow
That's
guy. He's like, matter cannot be created nor destroyed, and yet I hold to the proposition that matter was created by God.
yeah, but again, that's not really a symmetry breaker at all. So maybe shut your mouth.
No, it's a contradiction with the law. He
No, it's
stated.
not. No, it's
Yes, it
not because
is. Yes, it
does
is.
God have to abide by the laws of
Yeah,
No, that
creating the
just
universe is
redefined in
usually
his
referring to the
worldview.
law of
It's
creating the
not
universe,
in
right?
his worldview that scientific law is superseded by the existence of this being. So he
But how
doesn't
do you
yeah,
hold it. He doesn't hold it as a
necessarily would
principle.
have to
He
be
doesn't hold
actually.
it as a principle outside of the scientific context.
Okay,
Well,
great.
the point is,
So
I mean,
that
wait, so hold on, because the
If
point
there's
is, by
no
the way,
logical
right?
contradiction with matter coming into existence in the theist worldview, then how can you hold that there's a contradiction with matter coming into existence in the
yeah,
atheist
because the
worldview?
Because it came
symmetry
out of
breaker
nowhere.
is when we're doing an eternal critique and we're looking at your own worldview, and when we're
No.
looking at you, shut up. I'm not
There's
done.
no,
I'm not
there's
done.
no, you haven't provided a good
He's
reason.
Gaylord,
still
Come
talking.
on,
There
guys.
you go.
Come on.
Gaylord,
Let's
I'm
live
speaking.
nicer.
Gaylord,
One another, please.
Gaylord, I'm still speaking. Thank you.
Go ahead, finish.
So again, when we look at your own worldview where you believe that energy is eternal, then necessarily the context and the logical entailment of this would be that energy decays over a course of time, correct?
That's not an
Right?
entailment. That's just a statement you're making. It's a claim. You're not.
No,
That's
that
just.
is the
That's not an
entailment.
entailment.
Wait, do you
That is
not
the
believe
No,
in
entailment
it's
eternity?
actually.
not. No, it's not. It's part of a theoretical model about the behavior of baryonic matter.
Yep,
It is not
actually.
it is not a logical entailment of the statement the universe is eternal for there to also be decay. That's just an empirical claim based
That
on
makes
inductive
zero sense.
evidence.
Yeah, it's like saying
Yes. You don't
like
understand
they have
logical
incoming
entailment if
coming.
you think it's an entailment of the proposition that the universe is eternal, that therefore
Yeah, if
matter
the
decays.
universe is
It's an
No, no,
inductive
no,
entailment.
no,
claim.
no.
It's
Yeah,
an
That
inductive
doesn't have
claim.
nothing to do with each other.
hey,
No, no.
retard.
Just get down.
Not
Come
done
on,
It
guys.
has
speaking.
Live
nothing to do
on.
with each other. But the point is, of the
Nice.
argument is that if the universe is eternal, right? Like, so for example, we believe the universe has a beginning and that's a time, so there's no
Sure. Yeah.
problem here. But if it is infinite, then it stands to reason that somewhere we should see this non-infinite energy, this infinite and this energy that runs out of energy over time. There should be a sort of rundown version of that somewhere that we've observed, but we
Not
don't observe that.
necessarily. There's many
Why would
theories.
that be?
There's many theories in modern physics. There's
Why
many
would that
theories
be
and
the case?
there's many
Which
theories of
theory? What
eternalism,
theory?
eternalist theories in modern physics. Big
Where?
Bang Theory as it stands
Guys,
only
don't interrupt,
describes
please.
Big Bang Theory as it stands only describes the observable universe. Most scientists who believe in the Big Bang Theory, the majority, don't claim to know anything about the origin. They don't, but they also don't say
That
that the
has
Big Bang
nothing to do with
was the beginning.
thermodynamics. You're just a fucking
Yeah,
retard.
thermodynamics just describes a system. We don't know if the universe is an open, closed. We don't know the
Oh
ultimate.
no! Oh, well, okay.
Now
Now
this
it's
is an
just like
unknown. This is an
now
unknown in
it's the god
science.
of the
Well,
gaps.
we don't
Now it's
know.
the
Here's
It's
god
the
of the
not
thing. Let's
God.
gaps.
take the thing that
That's
Oh,
doesn't
now
have
it's the
to
god
do.
of the
no.
gaps. Wow, that's
Fine,
so
shut up.
amazing.
An
Please shut up.
unexplained
Fine.
an
Holy.
unexplained phenomena does not mean God of the gaps. Just saying
Yeah,
I
you have
don't
no idea
know.
what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
But
God
just
of the
get
gaps
down.
would be
So
if
what
I
you're doing then,
God
right?
of the gaps would be if I just provided a hypothesis to explain it. But I'm
Yeah,
saying it's just
exactly.
an
You did. You said,
it's an
"Oh, it's
Don't
an open
provide
unexplained
an
system.
thing.
Oh, it's an
exception.
Yeah, but
open
then
system.
just get
Actually,
down.
it's an
What you're
open
doing then
system.
instead
No,
is making
There
there
could
a
be
claim
an
that
open
makes no
system.
logical
That's
sense.
a god of the
What you're
there
gaps
saying is
fallacy.
I can provide you papers by PhD scientists with
no, because
many
what you're saying
models
is
of eternal
No one
what you're
cares.
saying.
inflation.
But
No
this is what I'm
one
saying.
But
cares.
You're
yeah,
saying the
the
universe is
problem is
eternal.
what you're saying about like thermodynamic laws or the consensus in science or whatever is just not true. Many
No one
scientists
cares. That's the god of the gaps
have
fallacy.
models that explain eternal
Great. That's the god of
inflation.
the gaps fallacy.
It's not a
Great.
god
I
of the
mean,
gaps
those,
fallacy.
Yeah, it is.
There,
yeah,
No,
the
no, no.
scientific formulas and all that, those are, yes, exist, but
sorry,
it doesn't define the
the cow
beginning.
guy has a lot more like better faith than you. I'd prefer to talk to
Or
him.
it's just like screaming or something. I don't know.
Geopolitics.
Yes.
Tell me, if you take like a fundamental force of the universe,
Mm-hmm.
take any, okay? Can
Okay.
you tell me how is it shaped that way rather than another way?
Okay. Are you saying, let's just take, for example, Earth. Why is it, spherical? Why is it not a rectangle?
No, I'm talking about. Oh, well, actually, okay, yes, let's say that. Yeah, let's say that. Okay, yeah, why?
Okay. So, uh, I will answer you. Just I need to actually clear out questions. When you say, why is it, like spherical, not rectangle? Are you saying the spherical is the right and rectangle is not?
No, I'm saying one is the present state, the other is not.
Because like that's just how it is. We cannot just say, the creation or anything. It's just with the way it is.
But the
And
problem
we
is,
cannot
okay,
say it is the way it has to
I'll
be.
give you,
It's just
okay,
it is.
I'll give you an analogy. If
Hmm.
I have a bucket of paint and I throw
Mm-hmm.
it onto a canvas, okay, and
Mm-hmm.
it draws like a little whatever, little image, whatever. Okay,
Okay.
is that random?
Is that random? Like
Is the
the painting?
is the painting the final result random?
Random, like what, like comparing to the what people expecting, like understand as a painting. Yes, it would be random for them.
Okay, okay, but fundamentally, if
Mm-hmm.
you look at how the painting was made, there
Mm-hmm.
are particles on the canvas that
Mm-hmm.
shaped the way every particle of paint dropped one after the other, and it formed the painting, correct?
Uh,
So
okay.
when I
Well, it
told,
didn't exactly,
yes, it did.
but okay.
Are you
But
coming
No,
down
no.
from Darwinism or because there's
no,
people
See,
no,
see,
but
see.
wait,
on
wait,
that,
wait.
but okay.
Mhm.
So,
So when you
so
say the canvas painted it, you saying the paint was actually, the whole canvas, and the some part of the canvas where the paint didn't got, like touched, there is no paint attached to those specific side of the canvas. You saying those canvas actually said they moved those paint to little bit left or right. That's how? Because that's not true.
I didn't understand your
I
explanation.
think I think he's trying to make a description of like if the paint falls on the canvas, it just forms whatever, right? In one sense, we can think of it as random, but also if we like were to look at it from like an atomic perspective, there would be like order to it in some sense. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, if you want
Okay.
to.
Yeah. So
So
like,
Well,
the
but like,
if
what's
you
the
go to
point of
war,
that? What's the point of
okay,
that?
the
Like,
point.
what's the point?
What I'm going to is that take the physical world as a canvas, for instance. I'm asking you, geopolitic, how
Hmm.
was the first or most fundamental force of the universe what
Hmm.
it is rather than something else? If it was eternal or whatever you say,
Hmm.
how was it shaped? What molded
oh, this
it
is a very good one.
into the way it is?
Okay. First of all,
Crazy
I
argument.
will tell you my opinion, right? I don't think anyone molded it. It is the way it is. We, as a human being, we feel safe now,
No, it
then we
doesn't.
say, oh, if we safe now, everything is designed it in the correct way,
No.
you know.
Geopolitics. Let me try to reframe the question, right? Um, what he's asking you is, so if this paint canvas, right, in the fundamental sense is deterministic, whereas like the speed at which you threw it and the angle and everything, that caused it to
Hmm.
land in a specific way, and it will always land in that way if everything else is the same, right? Because it's
Hmm.
determinist. Um, he's asking you if the universe is eternal, right? What
Hmm.
was the initial shape of the universe so that now everything is the way it is?
Yeah.
I mean, he presumably he's going to say there is no initial state, and there's no problem with that
Well, he,
because it's just a brute fact. Like the laws and the arrangement of matter is just a brute fact. There's
But
nothing more.
it doesn't work
it doesn't make any
because
logical sense. No.
That
exactly
why that there's no logical
the
contradiction
fund
in such a model where you just have a preceding state
because
ad nauseum.
the fundamental force, the most fundamental force you can think of,
Hmm.
has to be has to have a relation, some
Hello.
kind of shape for it to act on other
Hello.
forces and create a system. So my
Let's just
Guys, can you hear me?
even if you grant that, there's no reason for there to be a god at the beginning.
yes,
Or
because
if you say that there really if you say that there's any beginning
Ontologically,
anyway,
it's necessary,
it's
actually.
not ontologically
no,
necessary. There's
it
no
Yes.
good
isn't.
argument for that.
Yeah. What is your good argument for that?
No, you are the one making the claim that it's ontologically
Yeah. So,
necessary. So
okay.
you
So
need
if
to make
energy
the
has no,
argument to support
okay.
that claim.
Via your own epistemics, you believe that energy has always existed, correct?
No, I don't even necessarily commit to that proposition. I can say I just don't know.
Okay, but you're not
Okay,
like,
that's not an argument.
Well,
yeah, you're
No, no,
just
but what can
No,
I tell you
I
is
don't
the
need to
whole
make an
existence.
argument because I haven't staked a
Yeah,
claim. You
your
staked the
argument is
claim.
not your argument cannot just be I don't know.
You staked the claim that such a being is
Yeah, but
ontologically
again,
necessary.
if
I
your
didn't stake
claim
a
is
claim.
simply "I don't know," then that's not necessarily
Yeah,
a claim.
because I'm not making. Yeah,
Then
you're right. I'm
you're
not making a
morally
claim.
you're
You are
ambiguous,
making
right?
the claim that it's
No,
ontologically
wait,
necessary. You are making a claim.
Yes, you're making the claim it's not. I'm explaining to
Oh
you
yeah, sure.
why.
Yeah, but he's given no argument as to why it is, so I have nothing to
No, but
oppose.
that's what
But
we're
does
discussing.
energy always exist?
It might.
How
I
can
don't
that
know.
possibly be the case?
How
It
could
just
it
always
not?
existed.
How
It
could
just did.
the case?
It just did.
Is
Yep.
it? You tell me. How could it not be?
How could it not be the
Yeah,
case?
but again, because when we look at the laws of thermodynamics, it
Yeah,
states that energy.
the laws of thermodynamics don't say that, and
Yeah,
they
they
don't
do.
dictate, and scientific laws in that
Hold on,
sense don't
retard. I'm
dictate
not done speaking.
the realm
I'm
of
not done speaking.
possibility. It's just a
I'm not done
description of
speaking.
systems.
I'm not done speaking. If there's a description of systems, then how would you even account for them?
Because scientific laws in this sense are
Oh,
just
well, what are
descriptions,
scientific
are
laws
just
based upon?
models, are
What are they
observations and
based upon?
experiences, and
Oh, they're
human
See,
and our
I
observations.
and
So if
think
they're
our
observations, what are
and
they?
theoretical models
Yeah,
that
yeah,
we make.
great. Again, so if
Okay,
they
so
are observations,
I
that
think
there are
he's
laws
gonna
that
come
exist,
back to
correct?
again
I'm gonna
cause and
Yeah,
start
effect.
something.
scientific laws in this sense are not absolute. We update models
Yeah,
based
but
on what we find.
but they are trying to point to a certain truth, which is an
No,
objective truth.
that's not just
That
automatically an
really?
objective
What?
truth.
How does that make any sense?
Yeah, because
So do you think the
So then, how do you evaluate
if we
science at
say that
all?
laws are predictive descriptions of past states, they
Yeah,
don't
again,
necessarily
so there
rule
is an
out the
objective
possibility
truth.
of future
Oh,
states,
so if they
which
update
contradict
the
them.
hey, hold on. So when we look at the 1960s, they thought that atoms were simply just like
Yeah,
a
exactly. And we
ball.
updated models. Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
We
So
made new
how did we update
discoveries.
these small? How did we
no, but so
make
wait,
these
just get down.
discoveries?
We
Wait,
change our assumptions, and
And
we
what
update
are
the
these
models because
assumptions
we
based
observed
upon?
new things.
Yeah,
Past
what are these
observations.
assumptions based upon?
Past observations.
What are these models based upon?
Past
is there an
observations.
objective reality or no?
Yeah, sure, yeah, but
Yeah, so if there's an
that doesn't mean that
objective
it's but
reality, no,
yeah,
hold on. If
but
there's
it's not perfectly
hold on,
described.
yeah, hey, buddy,
Let me finish. It's not perfectly described by these laws. This is just our
yeah,
best
no,
attempt
that's not the point that I'm making.
to
If there is
describe
an
reality.
objective morality, or
Oh,
sorry,
reality,
objective
not morality.
reality, if there's an objective reality, then necessarily it would be the case that there is something that is objective that created this reality, correct?
That's not true.
okay, so hold on.
It's
You're
not
repeating
necessary.
now.
There's
Come
no
on.
entailment. If
Hold
there
Yeah,
on.
is
there.
reality, therefore there is a thing that created it.
If
Okay,
there's an
then
objective
what?
morality, what he's
It's
trying to
not an
get at, right?
entailment, bro.
What he's trying to get at is the fact that there is some sort of truth. So do you believe that the laws that we have try to describe reality?
Wait,
If they do it
yes,
accurately or not,
that is the
fine.
goal. That is generally the goal of scientific
Yes.
models, is to
Okay.
try to
You agree with
describe
that.
reality.
Do you
Yes,
think there is a sort of
generally.
way, maybe we don't know, but do you
Up,
think there's a way that to 100% describe these laws or anything?
possibly. Possibly, I
Okay.
don't know.
Do you think these laws just like change randomly? Have they appeared
Uh,
to?
it depends on the law because it's a description. Many of our laws have
So
changed. Newton's law of gravity, we
when
called it a
I
law because we
when I
thought
say law,
that it wasn't going to
only for
change,
then yeah.
and it turned out that it was not a good description of reality.
Yeah.
It was a bad
So
description of reality.
when I say
It,
law, we should probably use a different word because I don't mean the
You're
legislation
making
that
a
we
word
have
concept
to
No,
fallacy
I'm
here.
listen.
try.
I'm not
You're
making a
making
word
a
concept
word. Yes,
fallacy.
you are
I'm not
because you're
making a word
describing
concept
laws
fallacy.
as
And
scientific laws,
the
which
law.
are not.
Listen,
Oh,
I didn't.
hold
Shut
on.
up. I didn't say a
It's not.
legislative law. I said the
No,
law of gravity. The law of
no.
gravity.
Again,
Yes,
you're
but that's a
trying to describe
description.
these as
That's a description
scientific
that
laws.
someone made up. Maybe that.
Well,
So
we're
Yes.
again, we're
trying to
not talking about
describe these
descriptive
laws
So
laws.
are
as a law.
thermodynamic laws.
No, but so I'm not talking. That's why I'm saying we should have a different word because I'm not talking about descriptive qualities in one sense. So the
Prescriptive. We're
true
talking about
law
prescriptive
of the
laws.
universe, right? Like how,
Yeah,
for example,
I'm
when
not even sure there are like ontological laws in this sense. There may be a best description, but that's never going to be equivalent to like the behavior that we're describing.
That makes zero
you don't
sense.
think,
Do you
or
believe in objective truths?
so hold on,
If I
is there a
if
behavior?
in the sense of objective truth you mean
No,
I can truly describe something, yes. I personally do, but that
No,
is
I mean in
contentious in philosophy.
no. In objective truths, I mean that there are objectively truth claims that we can make over the
Yeah, do I believe there are like propositions that like stance independently, describe reality truly? Yes, I personally do. Not everyone
what is
in
science
philosophy
trying to
commits
Honestly,
to
I
that,
need a
but I do.
dictionary, man.
What is science trying to do?
It's trying to describe reality or our experiences,
Exactly. So
or
reality,
and in some
laws
sense
of
predict
reality,
experiences.
the laws of
Right?
reality would necessarily
No,
be what?
well, you can do science without saying that there are ontological laws in this sense, and to say that what we
No,
mean by laws typically are our
no, you
best descriptions of past events. I don't think I
you
can
can't.
rule out all future events based
That
on some
doesn't.
number of
That's
past
not
events.
even symmetry breaker for the argument
And so
that
the
Igor
scientific
came up with.
method is always open to like even tightly held laws to be contradicted and updated
Yeah, but again, what you're
what
talking
if
about is something that is descriptive. We're talking about something that is prescriptive.
I'm saying
So
all
you
laws are descriptive. I'm saying all laws
no,
are
they
descriptive.
are
Yes, that's what
prescriptive.
I'm saying. I'm
No,
making the claim that all
they
laws are
would
descriptive.
necessarily have to be
Give
prescriptive.
me. That's not
I don't think
necessarily true.
that's not
Many
necessarily.
laws that we've defined were
It
updated
has
with new
nothing to do with
observations.
definition. You're trying to
In the
conflate.
case of
Again,
scientific
you're
laws, it does because it's part of a
no.
theory
Again, you're
framework.
trying to make a
So
word
this
concept
okay,
fallacy.
you keep going to
No,
the idea that
I am
you can
saying what I
describe
mean. I know
no
what I'm saying. I'm saying
no
that what you're describing, these ontological laws that are like separate from human language and scientific theory, are not necessarily a thing.
What would science even point to?
Yeah, descriptions of events and experiences.
Okay, then what would be? Oh man. All right, you're good.
Yeah, whatever
Go
the
ahead.
content of those
hold
experiences
on. Okay,
is.
so let's break this down, right? So let's say gravity, right? Does it seem to be the case, or is it true, or whatever, that a massive object, any mass, will attract like any other mass of the same object or whatever, like gravity? Does
It
the
de-
Earth attract us, for example?
I mean, it depends on if you're talking in Newtonian physics, yes. In relativistic physics, it's more like space time is bent, and we just kind of move along the bends that are made in space time.
Either way, whichever one doesn't actually even matter, right? Because the point is that since we have language, since I can point to that idea, I can also point to concepts that describe these ideas. If there's a thing and we have ways of communicating, then we
Yeah,
can describe this thing.
listen, but gravity is a perfect example because we changed those concepts
Yes, but so
drastically
did
as
the
science
fundamental
advanced.
property of
Yeah, but
gravity,
that's not a
this
symmetry
ontological
breaker.
thing or whatever, did that actually change, or did a description of it just change?
Well, the behavior that we observe changes every day, always,
The
and
Yeah, but that's
behavior
still not
changes.
not that
yeah, the
has
behavior
nothing
of objects and
has
our solar
nothing to
system
do with the
moves all
ontology.
the
That has
time.
I
nothing
don't think
to do
that's
with
the case.
ontology.
Yeah, what do you
Your
mean? It
You're
has
making
behavior
nothing
a
to
can
word
do with
change.
ontology.
fallacy. You're making a word concept fallacy.
Point to an ontological law that a scientific law, like outside of a scientific
Has
framework. What
nothing
kind of
has
law are you
nothing
talking about?
nothing to
An
if we
axiomatic
understand
law, like in logic? What do you mean? What do you mean? You tell
great.
me what you're
So
looking for.
when we look at these ontological laws, these are
Give me an example.
really
Yes,
again. So
that's not part of a scientific framework.
it doesn't matter if it's part of a scientific
Yeah, I'm
framework.
busy on dictionary right now.
Because you said that the
Scientists,
law of your claim initially, the reason we even got on this topic was that the laws of thermodynamics were incontrovertible in some sense, and there was like no
oh,
context
I
in
was using an internal critique actually.
which the concept of eternal universe doesn't even contradict laws of
No,
thermodynamics.
actually,
But
It does
I
raise
was
other
using.
problems. Is the problem?
That's
Is the
not
framework?
actually true
Okay.
whatsoever. I was
that is
using
how we
an
got on this topic. But
shut up. I was using
so
an
give me an
internal.
example.
I was using an internal critique in order to critique this guy's argument because
You
he
haven't
believes
given
in
a
science.
substantive critique at any point in this conversation.
But you weren't even here for most of it.
No, our conversation. I'm not referring to any past conversation I wasn't present for.
Great. So
Yeah,
again, when we look at the ontological laws, they are unchanging, unmoving. When we look at science as a framework,
Wait, you're just throwing out claims. What ontological
uh,
laws? I asked you for an example. You haven't given me one.
what is the purpose of science then?
To describe, predict reality, and model
Okay, so if there's
something.
laws that exist within
Reality, our
reality,
experiences, whatever it may be.
okay. So if there's laws that exist in reality, there are ontological laws, correct?
That's just some. If you're okay, if there are laws, they are ontological. You're just making a claim. Give me an example of what you're talking about.
No,
I'm saying that they're.
you're making a word concept fallacy because you can possibly not understand what the word
Look,
law
you
means.
cited the law of thermodynamics earlier. That is
Yeah, but
clearly
that was
part of a
doing an
scientific
internal
theory
critique.
that's
That was
descriptive.
doing an
So I
internal
want you to
critique.
give me an example
I
of
was
what laws
doing
you're
an
talking
internal.
about.
Great. So I'm talking about the laws of how reality functions itself.
Okay, what is one? Give me one.
Why would I have to do that?
Because
That's what
because
you're claiming, right? You're claiming that
because
exists.
you're
Yeah.
claiming that they exist.
Yeah, I'm claiming they exist, but I wouldn't have to give you one, right?
Yes, you would, because you're claiming it exists.
No,
Then
I'm
how are you
saying
going to
that
continue
I
the
mean,
discussion?
he can make the claim, but yeah, our discussion isn't going to go anywhere if he doesn't provide an example.
Provide any provide evidence for that, right?
no, there doesn't have to be any evidence for it.
What?
Yeah, I could make the claim that
I mean, you
there's.
can just
Hey,
I could
claim.
make
I
the
mean, we can
claim.
also
Right,
pin
not
it
I could
back
make the
against
claim that there's a
concept.
teapot on the other side of the
right.
sun, right? That we
Well,
There's a
can't
the
see.
unicorn right now.
evidentiary
Unicorn
proof
over in
would
the
just be the basis of science, right? If something is trying
No,
to
no, no. So
point
that's not
into
entirely true either. Is the thing.
really how?
Yeah. So, um, I think what he's trying to get at least, this is my understanding of it, is that laws don't have to be like the same way forever, just for us to now use them, like use words to describe what we have seen before, right? So he said as well that like we can't really know or describe what happens in the future. We can only like, attempt to predict it, right?
Yes.
So
That doesn't
I think in
matter.
his
That's
mind,
not
it's
the claim that I'm
possible
making.
that laws change at some point, maybe, right?
No, that's not even the
And we
claim
wouldn't
that
be able
I'm
to
making.
predict that.
You're
Is it or
conflating
is it
the
not?
idea of
Yes,
like
that
Exactly
yes,
what he's saying, right?
that is what
Yeah.
I'm saying in terms of my opinion on even scientific like ceteris paribus laws. But
yeah, but
but
I'm
this
not
he's
making
also
that claim.
Or
you're
maybe he
claiming
might
that
not
I'm
there's some set
saying
of
understand
that there's
unchanging.
exactly what he was saying.
I'm saying that there is some set of laws that exist within reality,
And
right?
he's saying prove it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm saying
And
or
these
even
He's
provide an
laws
saying
example we
prove
can
that
that these
discuss.
exist in
laws
reality
can
are
never
the
change or
basis
like
of what
whatever.
reality is, correct? They're ontological.
You're again, I'm not going to affirm that. That's a claim you're making that you haven't supported.
So what is it? Is it descriptive now? What? So when human beings describe a law, it's prescriptive. Does that make any sense to you?
The laws that I gave examples of, like the laws of thermodynamics or the laws of gravity or laws within scientific frameworks, I think I've provided a pretty good explanation that they are descriptive and that they are
So
are
if they're descriptive, then what would that entail?
I don't know, you tell me. What are you looking for? You're clearly trying to pump for
Oh, so
something. What
fight.
is it?
Okay, let's say there's a world where every 1,000 years, like, or let's say it's a game, okay? Every 1,000 years, every 1,000 turns, whatever you want to call it, the rules of the game change, okay? But these
Yeah, but that
people,
would
these
still
players
be
that live in
based
this
Your
upon the
game,
rules
lifetime
of
isn't
the
a
game,
thousand
does it
years,
not?
yeah.
hold on, yeah, your lifetime is not 1,000 years, right?
Yeah,
Let's
but
say
that
it's
would
like
still be
100.
the rules of the game, would it not be?
Doesn't matter. So the point is, right, that the
Yeah,
people
But
that
I'm
live in
our
talking about the
description will
rules
be
of the
hold
insufficient.
on,
Yeah,
yeah,
but the
the point
description
is,
from those
right,
people's perspective will be insufficient because they
that's
won't
yeah,
be
but
able
that's
exactly
to.
not really
They
what I'm
couldn't.
talking
They
about.
wouldn't
You
But
really
know
do
but
not
about
that's
the
understand
change
exactly
in
the
the
what his point
argument at
rules.
is.
all.
That's exactly what his point is, though. Just Down's point is that the fact that we can't know with 100% certainty
So
that
what? There is still the laws that exist, right?
no,
Well, you're making that
you're
claim.
just okay. I don't
Oh,
know.
really?
I understand.
In your own analogy that you made here, right? The laws of the game change, or
Yeah,
the
it doesn't matter.
nominal laws of the game change, but the laws of the game are still the same, right? Because every 1,000 years they change.
I mean,
That's
maybe even that
programmed
changes
into the
randomly
game,
on based on
correct?
RNG. It doesn't matter.
It's it
The
doesn't
point
matter
of
if it's
but the
based.
point of the example is that
Also,
if
if
the
all your
people
sorry, finish.
if the
Well,
people in this game don't live long enough to see these changes, right? They can't
That's not the
observe them
point
and
that
can't
I'm
make any
making. I'm
quality
talking
yeah,
about
sure.
judgments.
No, no.
ontology.
That's
Listen,
exactly
listen,
the point.
listen. Like, well, the point Fight made, which is partially relevant, is that we are describing something, right? Like they are. You're saying like the in the analogy the 1,000 year rule change, the shorter lifetime people are there is something they're describing. There's an order like what you earlier described as an ordered behavior. I don't know if I use that terminology, but sure. Like let's call it an ordered behavior that could be described accurately, but they don't have the perspective to describe it accurately.
Yeah.
And so what Fight is saying is that like that okay, there is this behavior that we are describing. We just don't have the perspective to describe it accurately. But did
No,
we have
that's not what
the
I'm
Perspective still
have the
saying at
exists.
all.
perspective?
Yeah, sure.
Buddy.
Well, you're saying that
Okay,
there is
okay.
ontologically this behavior, right? That is
No,
happening.
that's not what I'm saying
But
at
the
all.
reason, again, I will repeat it again. The reason we got on this topic is because the initial claim was that the universe can't be eternal because of some thermodynamic law, and which I
That's an
am
internal
pointing out
critique.
is the
What's the
scientific
consequence of that
description.
law? But
There was an internal critique. Okay.
Well, I
We can
don't
also
hold.
we can also look into
If I
the tag
hold that
argument.
such a law is a descriptive thing,
Great.
right, in
We
the
can
sense
also
that
look
I
into
described, then there's no reason that it rules out an eternal universe.
yeah, great. So we can look into the tag argument if you want to go down that route.
So we'll just shift now. Okay.
The tag argument. What is it?
I don't. I'm somewhat familiar with tag.
So
I'm
what
not
I was
really super
Versus
interested in
series,
tag though.
bro.
Like it's not
2020 series. Comedy
a good
drama.
argument.
okay, great. So what I'm saying is that there are laws on how the universe operates, absent of human minds, right?
Sure. Let's say that there are. Let's just say that I grant that. Why does
Why
that
would
imply
that
a
not
god?
be the why would that not be the case?
Yeah, the universe is just law-like. There you
Okay,
go.
so when did human minds come about?
Why is that relevant here?
Yeah,
If
because
you're talking of like pre-linguistic ontological like laws, then such a thing, there's no contradiction in such a thing like the universe just being law-like. And like I said,
great.
I'm
So
not even
do
sure that
you
I
think
grant
that
such a
the
thing.
universe? Hold on. So the symmetry breaker here would simply be put: do you think that the universe came about through human minds, and you believe that it came in when?
When did I say that? When did I make that claim?
that has nothing. What?
Yeah. No, wait. If you say that, there has to be reason. Why did you say that?
Because he essentially stated that the laws are based upon human minds. If the laws are based upon human minds, then necessarily the
No,
precondition
again,
That'd be
that would be a word concept
wrong.
fallacy on your part because I was granting your definition of laws, which is this ontological like pre-linguistic just thing that's part of the universe. Ontological, it's separate, right? Stance independent laws.
yeah, but I
It's
wasn't.
not the descriptive
I
laws
was
that I was
doing.
talking about earlier.
I was
I
doing a
granted
critique
your
of your own.
claim.
I was doing a
No, because I
critique of
don't
your own.
believe in those. I don't necessarily believe in such things,
Exactly.
right?
So I was doing a critique of your own
No,
position.
that critique wouldn't hold in my worldview because I'm speaking of laws as descriptive parts of a
If they're
scientific theory.
descriptive, then necessarily they are not prescriptive, right?
Yeah, in my world, I said I grant your worldview where there are such things as ontological laws separate from
Yeah, they
people.
would be prescriptive, correct?
Well, presumably in your worldview, these existed before humans did.
Yes, they did.
Yes. So if I grant that, then of course, in that worldview, the laws are right. If I grant your worldview that there are such things, despite the fact that you
Wow,
haven't
how could
provided an
this not
example,
be the case? Literally, give me a symmetry breaker. How can not be the case?
yeah, the universe isn't law-like. That it is just descriptions.
That's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it's the
Even
we.
in order to make that claim, you would have to say that the don't mod me. What's going on here?
No,
But
we just prepared, find out the geometry and everything, and we call it, oh look, this is how it designed. Come on.
again, if you are mapping something that is descriptive, such as science, geometry, math, logic, etc., right? If
Mm.
these things are just descriptive, then that necessarily entail.
It just is the case that it has
Oh,
properties that are describable. That's all that it
no,
entails.
no, that's not what it entails. Actually,
Your concept of a design of all the whole existence, it doesn't even make sense at all.
how?
It's only making sense on the
Explain it.
artificial things, on the artificial reforms, but it's
Explain it
not
to me.
making sense
So
when
how
it's
would
about the
it
whole
make
existence.
sense for the artificial things and why not the naturalistic things? So if there's a design of how, if there is a divine design, how would it make sense that it would be only for the
No,
artificial things? Can you explain that to me?
okay, you put in the first word as a claim that there it is what do you call that? Natural design, divine design. You just put it. It's not a design itself. You just put it itself.
Yeah, that's a really good argument. Can you make the point though?
No, it is. The whole point is it is not a design.
Based on what?
It's not a design. Nobody designed
Based
it.
on what?
We
Based on what?
Okay, based on what, right? So you see, there is already the natural thing existed, right? You studied it. You studied how this, how it is
Are
the
you
shape
retarded?
or whatever. Wait. Let's just take, for example, like a flower, right? So you just studied it, the draw and find out how it happened. You just draw in a
What does this
paper.
have to do with my argument whatsoever?
I'm just saying, there's a difference
That
between,
doesn't matter
connecting.
at all what you're saying. It's complete nonsense. It's garbage. Shut up.
Well, I can say the same thing about you when you're connecting the design concept and creation concept
Yeah, you're
into the
not
whole
really,
existence.
you're conflating two different words and you're making a word concept fallacy because you think, oh, I
No,
said divine
you
You
said
you
design,
you
don't
said
know
that.
therefore
what a
it
word
must be
concept
drawn up.
fallacy is.
Let's
That's
stop
like the
talking
I
about
third
think
time
you
you've
guys should
misused
just
that
step
term.
back and look up the term reification fallacy.
Stop talking about fallacies and just try to talk to each other. I don't care about this. Like,
Not talking to you, I'm talking to Just Get Down and Hoopy. And possibly Geopolitics Talk as well.
Wait, why? I mean, I'm
Just Google it
aware
real
of
fast, and
reification
then
fallacy.
everything will make sense. You'll understand immediately.
Yeah, I'm familiar with what a reification fallacy is.
Are they claiming the laws of logic exist in reality and aren't just some presupposition we
No,
have
again,
to reason properly?
I mean, you
the,
could, again, like you could make that claim, but
the
it's not
claim
just
that I'm
automatically
making,
true. I get that to say that it's just automatically true because of like some inductive evidence, I think would be a reification fallacy in some sense. Yeah,
ow.
and it seems like that's the implication he's making. But
See, to design, you need a designer. There is no designer.
Yeah, that's God.
what? Yeah.
Like, again, you're
Oh,
putting the
yeah.
claim again. Come on.
You're saying it's not designed, though. Yeah. Okay. I was about to
Yeah,
say.
so how do you
How did you
describe the laws of logic from your own worldview?
wait, so are logical laws going to be your example of what you consider to be like?
They're transcendental categories. Okay. Do you know what a transcendental category is?
I'm familiar, like in the Kantian sense. Also, that they're not transcendental categories in the Kantian sense, for like absolutely
I
not.
don't care about Kant.
Sure. Um, I- you might. I think that concept is misused and incoherent in the way that you're using it.
Really? So are the laws of logic what? Where do they stem from? Can you hold them?
What do you mean? Where do they
Can you
stem
hold?
from?
Can you hold the
They're.
laws of logic?
I mean, I'm going to say the logical laws are descriptive too of things. So
They're descriptive.
yeah, we have even updated them. The laws like that were described by like the traditional laws of thought in like the schools of like Aristotle and Plato were like vastly like reconsidered in like the movements of logical positivism and like the evolution of logic as a formal discipline, all that stuff.
So wait.
Laws. I mean, what we
Classical
can talk
laws
about
of
what you're
logic.
talking about, but he claims that the laws of
Okay.
logic are transcendental categories.
Yeah. Okay. What created the law of identity?
People.
How?
By writing things down and discussing them and thinking.
How could that possibly be the case?
Well, we have a history when we know that like, if you're talking about the classical laws of thought, like thought to be formulated by like
No, we're
who
talking about
first
the law of
described
identity.
who first described identity relations. I
Do
mean,
you know what
some
the
would say
law
it's
of
pretty old.
Okay, I'm talking about the
So
law of identity. What fomented it?
Fomented, like stirred it up. What are you talking about?
no. So okay, hold on. So like, for example, the law of like non-contradiction, or at least I think that's a logical law, right? Could be wrong, I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
But
It's one of the three classical laws of thought. If
yeah.
that's what you're
But
talking
so
about.
The laws of logic, not
There's
thought.
for
many
example,
formulations of like the LNC,
the
or the law of
reason we can have
non-contradiction.
that thought is or the reason we form it in that way is because nothing that we have seen seems to actually contradict itself, right?
Yeah,
No, no,
there are people that believe in
no.
true
Again,
contradictions.
again, these laws of logic map onto reality.
Yeah,
Okay,
they seem to agree
so
with
when
We
that.
we look at,
they're attempts
for
to
example,
describe
a rock
things.
is still a rock, absent of a human mind. Correct?
It depends on what you mean by that. Yes, I would say so. But
yeah, if that were to be the
if what
case,
we're
then
to,
it's
but that's just to say what we're describing. It's not
okay,
to say that
okay.
it's equivalent to the
All right,
description,
let's
though.
just make a syllogism because you were
If you're just saying
is
our description is still our description, then yes. If
okay. So is A
but
solely
that doesn't
does
make the
A
description
equal
equivalent
A?
to the
Does
thing.
A equal A
That doesn't
absent
make
of
the
a human mind?
description. That doesn't make the description equivalent to
Does
the
A
thing.
equal A outside of a human mind?
I don't know what that means.
Does A equal A?
A equals A are like placeholders. If you're just asking, is like something that's identical to itself to itself?
Yeah, that's
I would probably say yes.
Absent of a human mind, correct?
In the sense that I believe in propositions, or like how I think about propositions, I would say so. Yeah, but I don't think that means
Okay,
that
then
these
you
things
lost the
are.
argument, right?
Yeah, no, I disagree. I can say that descriptions just remain truthful, like in any context.
Okay, if they remain truthful, then
But
what does
but they're
that
still
necessitate?
descriptions.
Hey, buddy, what does that necessitate?
Yeah, that they're describing something.
No. If they remain truthful, what does that necessitate?
Doesn't necessitate anything.
I don't
Yeah, it
know. You
does.
tell
There's
me.
an objective
No.
truth.
Once
Correct.
more and more
Sure.
logical
Who
believe it,
cares?
but it's never.
I didn't
So if there's an
dispute.
objective
even
I didn't
truth, then
dispute there being
wrong.
objective truth earlier. I wasn't arguing against that.
Yeah, you
Right.
did.
The point
because
is
you
that
didn't.
even if we've lived for billions and billions of years and never see this law change, then there's no necessity for it to just always be the same. That's at the
Who
end of
said
the
it
day, that's
I think
absurd.
That's
somebody's
not the
snoring.
point that I'm even
Yeah.
making. That's not even the
Oh,
point that I'm
damn.
making. I'm saying that there's laws that map onto reality. They're the basis of reality. They're ontological truths.
Sure. Well, I did ask you earlier to provide an example.
His point is like
But I
you
don't
can't
have to,
prove that.
actually.
That's the. It's
I can actually provide a counterexample
What?
that would actually
That
prove
would
that there,
actually disprove your argument?
no, actually, I can prove that there are ontological truths via this counterexample, and I did already.
I
Multiple
also didn't.
different.
I didn't dispute that there were truths. I said that
So if there are truths,
you posited that like the like law of identity or law of non-contradiction were such examples.
yes, they would necessarily have to be the case in order to do any kind of scientific research whatsoever, right?
not true.
Not necessarily, no.
Why?
Yeah, like we
Not
don't necessarily have to
necessarily.
operate with those.
I'll give you
Why?
an
Like I said,
example. The laws
like
can
I
stay the
said,
same for like thousands and thousands, billions of years, and we wouldn't notice the difference, right?
also the way we think about these laws conceptually arguably has changed dramatically.
No,
No, I
actually
don't think
hasn't.
so, but yeah.
Yes, the law.
That's
No,
The
indisputable.
law.
no, because again,
Hold on.
In the
it's
history of like
infinity.
formal
Hold
in the
on.
his,
It's it.
No.
in the history of
Nerd.
formal
Hey,
logic, it
nerd.
has
I'm gonna have to
changed.
mute. I'm gonna have to mute you if you keep over talking me. So
You're
you're saying that
old.
the law of identity has changed? So A does not equal A in what circumstance?
I didn't say the descriptions of past versions of it were now untrue. The way we think about these descriptions and these relations has changed, and in some cases
Doesn't matter what we think about them,
and in
Burrito.
some cases when they do change, that does make some past descriptions untrue under
Okay,
that
I
new
really
axiomatic
do
framework.
not care what you're saying again.
You're not
So
listening.
has the
Let
law
us
of
focus on
identity
Do you remember
changed?
when
something.
Taco talked about reification fallacy earlier? This is
He was
exactly
talking
what he
about
meant.
you.
Just
No,
downstream.
he
Don't even
wasn't.
remember what
He was talking about your arguments that the laws of logic, you're reifying them. He was talking about you.
No, he was
People who
talking about
argue for what you argue for.
Get wrecked, nerd. Got fucking dominated, dude.
Absolutely dominated.